to the show and fall at your door. We got that info for you. Touchdown on that side and buy anything. More than just a podcast for you.
Welcome to another edition of the 10-4 YouTube show. Today, we have a new member of our panel. We have Mr. Damond Talbot, and he runs NFL Draft Diamonds. So, Damond, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Hey, everybody. I'm Damond Talbot. I'm the owner of NFL Draft Diamonds. It's a small school scouting website. It's dedicated to helping small schoolers get an opportunity. It's basically giving them a platform. You know, not everybody's able to go to Ohio State or Notre Dame, but we will do what we can to give them a platform to where they feel like they definitely are on that same level. That's what we try to do.
Well, we are glad to have you. Thank you for being with us today. And also, welcome back to the show, Mr. Big Ten Dad himself, Randy Wade. Glad to have you.
Welcome back. It's been my own show. It's kind of cool.
So we'll dive right in. So continuing our conversation from last week, we talked about in-state versus out-of-state. So this week, the first question, what are some benefits of keeping your child in-state for school versus going out-of-state?
I'll start that thing off, man. It's a big deal for parents. And a lot of parents don't understand it, so it's great for us to have this question. It's great for us to have this question first. Because it's a big deal for parents, because you can save thousands of dollars just by having your kid in-state. You know, for instance, in Florida, you got the Pell Grant. It's a lot of the stuff is based on your score as far as your ACT and SAT. But if you can make over, I think it's a 24. I think it's a 24. There's so many different scholarships and stuff you can get to the point where your kid can be putting money in their pocket, almost like an athletic scholarship. You know, it's crazy. I know you're gonna break it down further, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Well, for me, I never put emphasis on in-state. We are not originally from the state of South Carolina. So, and, having my kids being born and bred in the South, I preferred that they go somewhere else and get a different experience on life. That was my outtake on it. But when you talk about pros and cons, like obviously for the parent, being able to, like my son being in North Carolina now, like hour and a half away, like I am all over his nerves because I'm knocking on his door like every weekend. So it's just a blessing to be able to, always go to all the games, or at least the home games anyway, and to have them close. So if they need something, that sort of thing. I think a con sometimes can be, because I did have one that was like an hour away from home that was in college. She came home every weekend, and I feel like she didn't really get the college experience. Again, I love my babies, but I didn't get the college experience. I was kind of a commuter college student. And so I wanted them to, live that dream, be in college. I had my thumb on them for so long, me and my husband. And so just to be free, I wanted them to explore and to do different things. And my young man in Greensboro right now, he's doing exactly that.
For me personally, I don't have a child in college yet, but I will say this. I think a lot of parents, they forget that college scouts, if we're talking just in sports in general, it doesn't matter whether you go to a D2 school, a D3 school, it doesn't matter whether it's out of state or in state, because their scouts are going to show up. The scouts are going to find you if you're talented enough. And I know that, in this case, obviously in state, like what Angela said, it is a blessing because you do have your family nearby. And like Randy said, it'll save you money. Out of state tuition is way more expensive, but at the end of the day, it can be a huge blessing for everybody. I mean, it doesn't matter. Just a blessing to go to college to where you can get a scholarship or get something for free is a blessing. I have $120,000 in student loans, and I'm willing to share it with anybody that wants to. So.
Yeah, that's big, but I'm gonna add on to that real quick, because one of the big things also is just graduating from college and not having all those loans that you got to pay off, man. It's that key. That's the thing about it. That's one of the biggest reasons a lot of people play sports, because they leave college without having all those loans and stuff like that. It sets you back. set you back. Go ahead, James.
That's very true. And I would say I have it from both ends. With my girls, we stayed in state because of exactly that. It saves thousands of dollars because like in-state tuition is half of what out-of-state tuition. And they actually lived at home because you don't even have to pay room and board. Because even if you're in state, if you live in the dorm, you have to pay room and board and you have to have a meal plan. So with my girls, they stayed home and they commuted because they could have, you're even saving more. You don't have to have a meal plan. You don't have to have room and board. So we just paid tuition, books, and fees, which allows my girls to be able to say we don't have the crushing debt. We happen to have really, really good in-state schools here very near to us. We're like 30 minutes from Vanderbilt or 30 minutes from MTSU. But with my son, because he was playing ball at the Air Force Academy, that's Colorado. And one of the things that most sports parents don't prepare for is the cost of travel. Less than half, it's over 50% of parents and families of students who play in college don't actually get to see their students play, and it's because of cost. So when you're trying to decide on in-state versus out-of-state, a lot of times I have to tell my moms transportation is not included in the scholarship. Transportation for you laughing, I'm promising you, I had to say this in a class. Transportation for you as a parent is not included in that cost, and transportation for your child to get home is not included with the cost of an athletic scholarship or an academic scholarship either. You would be surprised the number of parents who just say scholarship and they're like, we will pay no money. But you do have to be mindful of two things, cost and proximity, because it's really sad that sometimes parents only get to see their kids play once because that's all they can afford. So those are some of the benefits that I found. Moving along to the second question. So this week, Trevor Lawrence is back in the forefront of the movement of gaining equality and community involvement. He put out, not just him, he's the first person I saw, but other people picked up on it. But he put out a 5-point plan for collegiate and community partnership. What are your thoughts?
I'll chime in first. I think it's great to finally see a student athlete with the stature that he has at this point. He's considered the #1 overall pick. For him to jump out there and do this, it's big. I don't know if he's doing it. I don't know the intentions behind it, and I doubt the intentions are impure. I think that he's legit. I know he's a believer in God, and I believe that his mentality behind it is proper. And I think that it's great that he's pushing this because it's true. This needs to stop. I mean, it's been too long. It's not fair. It's not just. I'm a law enforcement officer too, so I get both sides of it. It's not right. I mean, we need to give him a little bit. I mean, because at least he's willing to step up. Drew Brees was kind of forced to step up when you look at it that way. Drew Brees was he was pushed out there to have to stand up. Trevor Lawrence is doing it on his own. So for just that initiative, I think that's positive, and I think that's a wonderful thing that he's doing, and I hope he stays with it because it's definitely something that our country needs to fix.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's the same thing you've been telling me, Jamesetta. It's the same thing you've been telling me. I was protesting, rallying for the Big Ten stuff, and I didn't have a direct plan to funnel everything I needed to do to help the whole situation. And it's like, and the way he did it was awesome, man. I just want to kind of, one thing I want to kind of do is some people like to say, well, Trevor Lawrence doesn't speak for me just because he's white or whatever. But I'm like, no. What they don't understand is that it takes people that's unaffected to be just as mad as the people affected. It's going to make a change. So him speaking up is outstanding. Great job. One piece I want to touch on of what he said is you see these billion-dollar schools make all this money, and then when you see the areas around the school, there are a lot of people that's around the school, the economics around the school, I feel like the school should definitely give back, and I appreciate him saying it.
Well, for me, I feel like it's kind of both ways. I'm excited that he is speaking up you know, he made a post or something about, you know, I have to understand that the life that I live isn't the same life that my brothers and sisters live. And so the fact, I do believe it's going to take us all, but I'm going to, again, I'm always throwing a monkey wrench in it, but I can't say that I'm totally 100% for there being a white face per se, because what I want to say is that there are a lot of other black athletes that maybe doesn't have the clout that Trevor Lawrence has. So to what you said, Damon, like he is considered the #1 pick. So obviously people are listening to him, but I definitely would love for him to kind of pull someone else up there so there could be two faces. I mean, because again, I think a lot of times we're in this situation because white people are disregarding black people, like just shut up and play, or just run, boy, run, or, you know, this is what you're here for, you're getting free this, you're getting free that, blah, blah, blah. So I would like for there to, you know, again, kudos to the young man for doing what he's doing, never saying that he needs to sit down and shut up, because it will take the people that aren't being affected to speak out. Totally get that. But I do believe that maybe some of those young men from the Pac-12 can come alongside him and maybe have, you know, kind of like a dual spokesperson type of thing, so that it's not just, because people have a way of kind of making it about, oh, well, this is happening because of Trevor Lawrence. Well, it's happening because it needs to happen. And I appreciate Trevor Lawrence speaking out. But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's always like this spin on it when it's not a person of color. So
I'm going to say messenger definitely matters. Messenger absolutely matters. And I agree. I love the 5 points. I do go back, you know, how my brain works and compare. And what is unique is, for me, he took the framework that the Pac-12 United group came up with, and then he put teeth to it, in my opinion. So I think it's amazing to say, okay, on November 3rd, we don't even want football activities. We want a day off so that everybody can go vote. And that's a concrete thing that for me stemmed from the Pac-12 United initial request for community involvement, definite community actions, you know, calling for ongoing conversations with police departments, with local government officials, with community activists. That's the key. The community activists that are out there doing the work. That will give an opportunity for them to actually listen and learn and observe. Because so many times I think that people who are outside of a situation come in and they believe they know what's right, but they don't have any context. They don't talk to the people that live in the community. They don't talk to the people that are doing the work. And to Angela's point, a lot of the people doing the work are black and brown activists. Not to say that white activists are not, but a lot of the people doing the work are black and brown. And so you do need to talk to them directly about how things are going in their communities, so that when you make solutions, they're real, effective, and they really do have long-term impact. So I'm excited to see him taking things a step further, but I do hope that he does what he committed to, which is include people from the communities that are actually impacted in doing the work, if that makes sense.
But one thing y'all got to understand too, though, for Coach Dabo to be so unconcerned, and with some of the things he did, is how he doesn't voice his opinion about what's going on in the community and stuff like that. And for him to be so concerned, it just shows his character. You know, I'm with him now. I mean, I wish Sean would have hit him and knocked him out in that game, but like I'm definitely with him. You know
but I agree. I think it's commendable. I love that he put teeth, and he has the option to do what most people don't do, which is listen to the people in the community. I'll give you an example really quick. So I supported a charity for that did some work in Somalia. And we were told very quickly, so what we were thought, we would contract with different NGOs from around the world, and we were told, no, when you just give money or dump stuff in from other countries, you crush our economy. And so we were like, they told us, you find people here in Somalia on the ground doing the work, and you fund them. And that's what we did. And it not only did we help feed people, but we changed the local economy for years to come, because we gave farmers tools to go back to their farms. And so I think this has the opportunity to do the same thing. You listen to the people on the ground doing the work, and you don't hurt the community with I don't know, a savior complex.